So I'll do a little voiceover here, explain what's going on, and I might talk over myself a little bit here, and I just didn't really have the whereabouts in this video. Plus,
it's a USDA job, so they have
after I went up in here to check on the new job, I hadn't actually walked this piece yet, and the buncher was starting, and I needed to get up in the piece and see what the buncher operator Brandon was talking about, and kind of what my forester Colby was explaining to me.
Get enough round wood, or
what we needed to do.
Pulp like that isn't too bad.
On this USDA job, and this is a USDA job in
a certain amount of it.
I had never done one before, and but there is money out there that is government funded to
not quite sure
do a job that doesn't necessarily
exactly how it's going to come out.
Produce the amount of money that a contractor needs. So whether it's building a road or putting a bridge in or cutting a piece that doesn't necessarily have the volume of wood that you need to do it. So I'm walking up in here now to the buncher, and you can see there's a lot of piles of what would normally be biomass, brush, non-merchantable wood that I can't process into pulp. But I don't chip, so I was kind of worried that this job was going to be very difficult because I don't own the buncher. I hire a guy to do it, and I pay him so much per ton. So, I mean, he needs to produce a certain amount of wood to make it economical for him to do it. So, if there's too much of that chip wood or non-merchantable wood, it wouldn't be that profitable. So, and kind of, I don't know how obvious it is in the video here, but you can see him swinging around there. And the bigger wood that kind of stands out, and that's rock maple.
Find the hardwood pulp.
If this wasn't a USDA piece, we would do an overstory. We would cut all the merchantable wood, and which would make the job not fantastic, but not that bad. So after looking at this job, after it's got started, and then as I was walking out, I called the forester and got a much better understanding of what they actually needed. And so it basically is you have to meet the USDA standards to get the money. So there's a certain amount of money that you get to do this piece, but you have to meet the guidelines and do the proper forestry to get that, and then the forester has to sign off on that. So what I was thinking is that we had to separate and thin out the rock maple that's left, which is really most of the merchantable wood. But what it comes down to is that in the piece there's crop trees, which doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be a big tree. It just has to be like thinning a crop. So it can be popple, soft maple, hard maple, yellow birch, white birch. It just can't be striped maple, or here in Maine we call it moose maple, or pinwood, ironwood, stuff that's not really a quality tree that you're going to grow.
Pretty nice machine, really.
So I didn't realize that. So basically, as you're cutting through here with the buncher,
but
if there's pole wood or prop wood, it has to be thinned out and spaced 10 feet.
I figured I'd come up here.
So if there's a bunch of that pole wood, and it also has to be 15 feet tall.
Help them out with the prescription?
you
Just
can
make
cut
sure we
all
get
the
as much
rock
roundwood
maple.
as we can.
It's just or bigger wood. But when you get to a section that has a clump of more merchantable wood, rock maple, and there's no undergrowth, there's none of that smaller crop wood, you have to space that wood 25 feet apart. So, which was confusing to me at first because I looked at this job going, it's not very good, but if we can cut all the hardwood pulp, it won't be too bad. But after understanding the prescription a lot more and understanding what the forester needs to meet the USDA guidelines, it made a lot more sense to me. It's actually, it's not going to be a fantastic job, but it won't be that bad because we can cut that wood that Brandon and I thought we kind of had to leave. Like you can see right in front of that bunch of wood, that size rock maple, I was thinking we had to leave and we don't. It just depends on what's around
So
it.
this pulp right
And
here
here,
is
like
actually
you can
pretty
see
good.
that popple.
This isn't bad.
We don't have to cut
wood.
that smaller popple.
Doesn't
That
look
counts
like
as
it,
wood
but
that we leave. So
I should probably do a little more talking.
we're probably going to have to tweak this a little bit, and that's
I'm trying
fine.
to figure out the
But
zoom
we can
on
cut a
this.
little more wood than what we were, and he's just getting started, so it's not really a big deal. Also, he's kind of separating what would have been chipwood. What you're seeing in the picture right now isn't chipwood, that'll be pulp, but some of the other piles that were in the video was chipwood, which would be chipped and hauled to a biomass to make electricity. But what we'll do with the forwarder is we can pick that chipwood up and since it's more of a spring job, and it's really flat ground right here where we are, but I didn't do any videoing, but on the way up, there's a really pretty steep part of, to get up to this flat part, and cable skidders, guys, and this piece was probably cut 40 years ago, so it's been quite a while. But guys with cable skidders cut this, and so where they drug the wood down over the hill, and there's really only a few places that you could actually access this place. It's kind of a trench, so the worry is that this piece is, 75 acres, so we're going to be here a little while, and the worry is that water and mud will run down the hill, and there's a brook that runs into the Sandy River. We cannot get that muddy and wet and full of, sediment. So what we can do, which is nice with our operation, is fill the buggy, the forwarder, up with that non-merchantable wood, and he can bring it down and set it off to the side wherever we need it, and I can set it in with the forwarder and fill the ruts and level out places and kind of protect the ground and minimize the mud and dirty water that could possibly reach that brook. And if we can't, that's the difference between being able to work and not being able to work. So there's guys around that don't get it, and they'll just get themselves in trouble because they won't stop working, and they keep going and going, and then it becomes a problem for the Forest Service. So we won't do that. We know better, and we're plenty capable of diverting that problem. So it's a little deceiving here, just it's so flat, but that will be an issue if we are not careful.
They give
but we're not
government
going to let
funding
that.
out for
So,
certain types of
and that's just the nice thing about our operation, is that we have the ability to move that brush around and kind of armor the trail per se. Where if if you were cutting this piece with grapples, in, behind this buncher, it would be an absolute disaster. You'd be pulling a wall of mud down that hill, and it doesn't look bad right now, but we just had 2 feet of snow the day before, so you're not going to see ground water and stuff like that. So we're going to do what we need to do to make this job work, and that's that. I mean, I think that's kind of synonymous with logging. Every job's different. There's hurdles on every job, and if you don't have the ability to overcome and adapt, you'll never make it in the business. So, or it's just going to be much more difficult. So, I'm probably being an eternal optimist, but I think we can make this job work, and I think there's enough round wood here to make it work. And obviously, from the video, that there's not a lot of great wood here, but anyways, we're gonna make it work. We're gonna try our best. I kind of just wanted to do a little rundown of the USDA thing, and there is a little more to it than what I described, but I tried to understand it the best I could. And once the forester comes in and I can kind of walk up here with him, I'll even get a better idea. So we'll probably keep tweaking the cut, and because we want to get as much round wood as we can, merchantable wood, and we don't want to make chip wood. So we'll keep working at it, and if you guys have any comments, suggestions, be more than glad to hear it, and like, subscribe, be much appreciated, and I'll try and do another video here, maybe when he's actually cutting a little more real wood. This wasn't all that impressive with the type of wood he was cutting, but that's what I got, so we'll catch you later.